After losing his wife and watching his daughter Lily become paralyzed, billionaire Daniel Hart lives in silence and sorrow. No amount of money can bring back her smile, until one rainy night, he sees a homeless boy dancing barefoot in the street. The boy, Sam, has nothing but his rhythm and hope, yet his joy sparks something Daniel thought was gone forever. As Sam enters their lives, laughter and healing return, and together they discover that love, not wealth, creates true miracles. A moving tale of grief, kindness, and the power of unlikely friendships that change everything. Hey family, welcome to Real Life Heart Stories. Please subscribe and give this video a like. It truly means the world to us. Don't forget to share it with your friends and loved ones, and turn on post notifications so you never miss a new upload. Thank you so much for the support. Now, sit back, relax, and let's dive into today's story. The night was cold and heavy with rain. In the grand mansion on the hill, the world seemed polished and perfect. Marble floors, golden chandeliers, elegant paintings. Yet behind all that beauty lived a hollow silence that no amount of wealth could fill. Daniel Hart, a man of 42, sat alone in his office, staring at a family photo on his desk. It showed a happier time. His wife, Amelia, smiling with her arms wrapped around their 10-year-old daughter, Lily, who wore a bright pink tutu. Lily's laughter had once filled every corner of this mansion. Now it was nothing but a ghostly echo of what used to be. It had been 2 years since the car accident. 2 years since Daniel lost Amelia. 2 years since Lily lost the ability to walk. He pressed his fingers against the photo frame, sighing. He had spent millions on treatments, therapies, and doctors, but nothing could repair what was broken inside his daughter, or inside his own heart. A soft knock broke his thoughts. "Come in," Daniel said wearily. Nurse Julia, a kind woman in her 30s, stepped in. Her face carried the gentle patience of someone used to sadness. "She's refusing dinner again," Julia said quietly. Daniel's heart sank. What did she say this time? Nothing. She just turned her face to the wall. He nodded slowly. Every day was the same. The silence, the pain, the distance growing between him and his little girl. "She used to love food," Daniel murmured, his voice soft. "Now she barely eats enough to keep going." Julia hesitated. "She misses her mother, sir, and she misses dancing." Daniel rubbed his temples. "I've tried everything. Therapists, counselors, music teachers. Nothing works." Julia looked at him kindly. "Maybe what she needs isn't something money can buy." Her words lingered after she left. Money could buy almost anything except hope. Later that night, Daniel stood by Lily's bedroom door, hesitating before knocking. "Come in," came her soft, distant voice. He entered quietly. The room looked more like a hospital than a child's bedroom. Machines, pillows arranged around her wheelchair, books she no longer read. Lily sat by the window, her face pale against the glow of the streetlights outside. She held one of her old ballet slippers in her lap, rubbing the soft fabric between her fingers. "Hey, princess," Daniel said gently. "How are you feeling today?" She shrugged. "Fine." It wasn't fine. Nothing was. He sat beside her. "Remember that dance competition you wanted to join last year? The one in the park?" Her eyes flicked toward him, then away. "Why remember it? I can't dance anymore." The words sliced through his heart. He forced a small smile. "You can still enjoy watching others dance." "Watching hurts," she whispered, "because it reminds me of what I lost." Daniel swallowed hard. There were no words for that kind of pain. "Good night, sweetheart," he murmured, standing up. She didn't answer. He closed the door quietly behind him and leaned against the wall in the hallway. The silence pressed down like a weight. For all his power, his companies, his billions, he couldn't bring back the sparkle in his daughter's eyes. The next evening, Daniel insisted Lily join him for a drive. "Just some fresh air," he said. She didn't argue. She rarely did anymore. The city glistened under a fine mist of rain. Streetlights flickered over puddles, and the world outside the car looked like a blurry painting. As they passed through a rundown neighborhood, Lily's voice suddenly broke the silence. "Dad, stop the car." Daniel blinked. "What? Stop," she said again, eyes wide, pointing through the window. He signaled the driver, who slowed to a stop beside a narrow street corner. There, under a flickering lamp, a boy was dancing, barefoot, soaked to the skin. His clothes were torn, but his movements were alive. He spun, jumped, twisted, and moved with wild, unpolished passion. A small speaker played faint music beside him, and a tin can collected a few coins. Daniel and Lily watched in silence. The boy's face glowed with joy, a joy that came not from comfort, but from freedom. For the first time in months, Daniel saw something miraculous. His daughter was smiling, a real smile, small, trembling, but real. He felt his heart stop. "Lily," he whispered. "He's amazing," she said softly. Daniel looked at the boy again. "Who is he?" The driver shrugged. "Just another street kid, sir." Daniel's eyes softened. "No," he said quietly. "He's not just another street kid. He's hope wearing torn shoes." For a moment, father and daughter watched the boy dance, their sadness forgotten. When the music ended, Daniel did something even he didn't understand. He opened the car door and stepped into the rain. The boy froze mid-step as the tall, well-dressed man approached. "Hey!" Daniel called over the rain. "What's your name?" The boy looked wary. "Sam." "You dance beautifully, Sam." He shrugged. "Just trying to earn a few coins, sir. I ain't good enough for real dancing." Daniel smiled faintly. "You're wrong about that." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a card. "Come to this address tomorrow morning. There's someone I want you to meet." Sam's eyes widened. "Me? Go to a mansion?" "Yes." "Why?" Daniel glanced back at the car. Through the foggy window, Lily's small face watched them. "Because tonight," Daniel said softly, "you made my daughter smile for the first time in 2 years." He placed a folded bill into the boy's trembling hand. Then he turned and walked back to the car. Sam stood frozen, the card clutched against his chest, the rain soaking through his shirt. For a long time he didn't move. The world felt suddenly different, warmer, somehow. He whispered to himself, Maybe I can make a difference." As the car disappeared into the distance, Sam looked up at the cloudy sky and smiled. The first real smile he'd had in months. Morning sunlight spilled across the cracked pavement of the old street corner. The storm from the night before had left puddles everywhere, glistening like mirrors. Sam sat on a broken bench, clutching the business card the rich man had given him. It was slightly smudged from the rain, but the gold letters still gleamed. Daniel Hart, Hart Industries. He turned it over in his hands again and again, almost afraid it would vanish if he blinked. Nobody ever gave him anything except pity or police warnings. Why would a man like that want to see him again? Still, the memory of the little girl's smile, faint but real, pushed him to move. For the first time in a long while, Sam had somewhere to go. By the time he reached the mansion, his heart was thudding in his chest. He stared up at the massive gates, tall and shining, like they guarded another world. "Wow," he whispered. "It's like a castle." The guard by the gate frowned when he saw the scruffy boy approach. "Hey, you can't just walk in here." Sam held out the card nervously. "I was told to come. Mr. Hart invited me." The guard looked skeptical until he noticed the logo. With a small sigh, he called through an intercom. Moments later, the gates opened with a soft buzz. Sam swallowed hard and stepped inside. The garden was enormous rows of roses, trimmed hedges, fountains glimmering in the morning sun. He could smell soap and flowers and something else. Safety. He hadn't felt that in years. The front door opened before he could knock. Daniel Hart stood there, dressed casually but still carrying an air of quiet strength. "You came," Daniel said with a small smile. "I wasn't sure you would." "I almost didn't," Sam admitted, glancing down at his torn shoes. "Didn't think someone like you really meant it." Daniel's expression softened. "I meant every word. Come in." Inside, the mansion was even grander. marble floors, paintings that looked older than time. Sam's reflection followed him in the polished surfaces, and for the first time, he felt painfully aware of the dirt on his clothes. "Don't worry about how you look," Daniel said as if reading his thoughts. "I didn't invite your clothes. I invited you." That earned a small, nervous laugh from Sam. They stopped by a large room where sunlight poured through tall windows. In the center sat Lily, in her wheelchair, wearing a soft blue sweater. Her hair was neatly brushed, but her eyes still carried that faraway sadness. She looked up when Daniel entered. "Dad, who's that?" "This," Daniel said gently, "is Sam, the boy we saw dancing last night." Lily's lips parted slightly. "You dance in the rain?" Sam nodded. "Yeah, keeps me warm, kinda." There was a tiny spark in her eyes, curious but shy. Daniel placed a hand on Sam's shoulder. "Lily used to be a dancer, too." Sam turned toward her, eyes widening. "You? No way. You've got that dancer look." Lily gave a half-smile. "Not anymore. Once a dancer," Sam said softly. "Always a dancer." Something about the way he said it so certain, so full of belief made her chest tighten. Daniel stepped back quietly, letting them talk. They sat together for a while. Sam told her about how he learned to dance by watching old music videos on store TVs, copying every move until he made them his own. Lily listened, fascinated. "You must be really good," she said. "I'm okay," he replied modestly. "You were probably way better." Lily's smile grew a little. Then Sam stood up. "Can I show you something?" She nodded. He began to move slow at first, then faster, twisting and turning across the polished floor. It wasn't perfect, but it was alive. Joy spilled from every step, every spin. Lily laughed softly. "You're crazy," she said through giggles. "Good crazy or bad crazy?" "Good crazy." Daniel watched from the doorway, his throat tightening. He hadn't heard his daughter laugh in 2 years. When Sam stopped, breathing hard, Lily clapped quietly. Small, trembling hands that still remembered rhythm. "That was amazing," she whispered. Sam smiled shyly. "Then I'll come back tomorrow with a new one." Lily's eyes widened. "You mean it? Promise." And for the first time since the accident, Daniel saw a hint of color return to her face, the faint blush of hope. That evening, as Sam left through the grand gates, Daniel called out, "Thank you, Sam." Sam turned, confused. "For what?" "For reminding me that miracles sometimes dance in the rain." The next morning, Lily woke earlier than she had in months. Sunlight spilled across her bedsheets, chasing away the shadows that usually lingered long after dawn. She brushed her hair, something she hadn't bothered to do lately, and waited by the window. Her heart beat faster than she wanted to admit. She didn't say it aloud, but she was hoping for someone. A boy with messy hair and a spark in his eyes to keep his promise. At exactly 10 o'clock, the doorbell rang. Nurse Julia opened it to find Sam, wearing the same worn clothes but with a smile bright enough to light the entire hallway. He held a tiny plastic speaker and an old phone. "Morning, ma'am," he said cheerfully. "I came to see Lily." "She's waiting for you," Julia replied, smiling softly. There was something about this boy that made everyone around him lighter. When Sam stepped into the living room, Lily was already there, sitting near the window with her sketchbook open. Her eyes lit up. "You came. Told you I would," he grinned. "I don't break promises. Not the few I make anyway." He set the speaker on the floor and played a soft tune, an upbeat rhythm that filled the room with warmth. "All right," he said, stretching his arms dramatically. "You ready to judge my moves today?" Lily laughed, covering her mouth. "You don't need judging. You need saving." "Ouch!" Sam clutched his chest, pretending to be hurt. "I came all this way for a roast?" "Maybe." Their laughter filled the house, light and genuine. Even Daniel, watching from the hallway, couldn't help but smile. Sam began to dance. His movements were freer this time, more playful. He didn't care about technique, he cared about joy. And slowly, Lily began to clap along, her hands following the rhythm without hesitation. For a moment, she forgot the weight of her wheelchair. She forgot about the accident. She was just a girl watching a friend dance his heart out. When the music stopped, she was breathless from laughing. "You're unbelievable," she said. "Good unbelievable or bad unbelievable?" "Good. Definitely good." Sam grinned. "Then next time, I'm teaching you a move." Her smile faded a little. "Sam, I can't." "I know," he interrupted softly. "But maybe you can dance differently, like with your hands, or your shoulders, or your smile." He said it so naturally that it didn't sound like pity, just truth. Lily hesitated. Then, very slowly, she lifted her arms and mimicked a few of his movements. It was small, clumsy, but beautiful. Sam's face lit up. "See? You're already better than me." She laughed again. This time it wasn't forced. It was the sound of something being mended. Days turned into weeks. Sam came almost every afternoon, bringing new songs and sillier jokes each time. Sometimes he danced, sometimes he just talked about his life, the streets, and his dream of joining a real dance crew one day. Lily listened to every word, eyes wide. One afternoon, as they sat sharing sandwiches, she asked softly, "Where's your family, Sam?" He hesitated. The smile faltered. "My mom's gone. Passed away when I was 12. And your dad?" Sam looked away. "Don't know him. Guess he didn't want to know me either." Lily's heart ached. "I'm sorry." He shrugged, trying to hide the sting. "It's okay. Life's been rough, but I got music. I got dancing. Keeps me alive." She was quiet for a moment. "You have us now too," she said softly. Sam looked up, surprised. "Yeah," he said with a small smile. "I guess I do." From the doorway, Daniel listened silently. His chest tightened at the sight of them laughing together. The boy who had nothing had somehow given back everything Daniel thought he'd lost. Lily's laughter, her spark, her will to live. That night, as Daniel passed Lily's room, he heard her humming softly. A tune Sam had played earlier that day. He paused, eyes closing. For the first time in 2 years, the house didn't feel empty. It felt alive. The Hart mansion had begun to change. It was still grand and silent, but now laughter often floated through the hallways, light and musical, like sunlight breaking through clouds. Every afternoon, the staff would hear Lily's giggles echo from the sitting room, followed by the rhythmic thump of music. That sound, once unimaginable, had become the heartbeat of the house. And at the center of it all was Sam, the boy who had once danced in the rain for coins. On one such afternoon, Daniel passed the open doorway to see them both laughing over a clumsy dance lesson. "No, no," Sam groaned, holding his sides with laughter. "You're supposed to wave your hands like water, not like a robot." Lily folded her arms, pretending to pout. "You're a terrible teacher. And you're a terrible student." They both burst into laughter. Daniel leaned against the doorframe, quietly watching. Lily's cheeks glowed pink. Her eyes were alive again. She even moved her shoulders and hands with the beat, as if her body was beginning to remember what joy felt like. For the first time, Daniel felt something like peace settle inside him. Later that evening, as the sun painted the garden gold, Daniel joined them outside. Sam was teaching Lily how to feel rhythm through her hands, tapping beats against the armrest of her wheelchair. Daniel smiled. "You're quite the teacher, Sam." Sam straightened awkwardly. "Oh, thank you, sir. She's the smart one. I just bring the noise." Lily laughed. "It's true. He's terrible at explaining but great at dancing." "Hey," Sam said, pretending to be offended. "You wound me, Miss Hart." Daniel chuckled softly, amazed at how naturally they talked to each other like old friends. He crouched beside Lily's chair. "You look happy, sweetheart." "I am," she said simply. Then she looked at Sam and added, "He makes me forget." Daniel's chest tightened at her words. Forget? The accident, the pain, the weight of grief. He looked at Sam with new eyes. The boy wasn't just entertaining his daughter. He was healing her. That evening, Daniel invited Sam to stay for dinner. The dining table, once silent, was now filled with chatter. "So, Sam," Daniel began, Tell me more about yourself. Where did you learn to dance like that? Sam swallowed his bite of bread. Mostly from watching people, street performers, old videos on shop screens. I used to sneak into studios to watch real dancers train. That takes courage, Daniel said. Not many people chase what they love. Sam looked down, shy. I guess dancing's all I've got. When I move, it feels like everything that's broken goes quiet for a while. Lily nodded softly. That's how I used to feel too. Daniel's heart ached. Two young souls. One trapped in a wheelchair, the other in poverty. Yet both bound by the same language, rhythm and hope. After dinner, Daniel walked Sam to the gate. The evening air was cool, filled with the sound of crickets. Sam, Daniel said quietly, you've done more for my daughter in a few weeks than all her doctors combined. Sam blinked in surprise. Me? I just danced. You gave her something no one else could, a reason to smile. Sam rubbed the back of his neck. Guess she did the same for me, sir. Daniel smiled. You ever thought of training properly? Getting into a real dance academy? The boy's eyes flickered with longing. Every day. But they don't exactly hand scholarships to kids who sleep under bridges. Daniel studied him for a long moment. Maybe it's time that changed. Sam's lips parted in shock. You'd help me? You helped us first. For a second, the boy couldn't speak. He only nodded, eyes glassy with emotion. From her window upstairs, Lily watched the two of them talking beneath the lamplight. Her father and her new friend, connected by something deeper than words. She smiled quietly to herself. For the first time since the accident, the mansion no longer felt like a cage. It felt like home again, filled with laughter, rhythm, and the beautiful, fragile music of friendship. It had been 2 weeks since the mansion had come alive again. 2 weeks of laughter, of music, of hope. But that Thursday afternoon, the rhythm broke. Lily waited by the window, her eyes scanning the driveway for the boy who had never once missed a visit. Her sketchbook lay untouched on her lap, and her fingers drummed anxiously on the armrest of her wheelchair. But Sam didn't come. By evening, she could no longer hide the worry twisting in her chest. He promised, she whispered as Daniel entered her room. He always keeps his promises. Daniel gave her a reassuring smile, though concern flickered behind his eyes. Maybe something happened, sweetheart. I'll try to find out. But as the night deepened and the rain began to fall, that worry grew heavy in Daniel's chest like a stone. Hours later, the city was asleep under a silver mist. Daniel's car rolled through narrow streets glistening with rain. He peered out the window, scanning each corner, each shadow. Then, just beyond a row of closed shops, he saw him. A small figure huddled beneath the cracked roof of an abandoned storefront, shivering violently. His knees were drawn to his chest, his thin jacket soaked through. Daniel's heart clenched. Sam! He pulled over and rushed toward him, umbrella in hand. Sam! What on earth are you doing out here? The boy flinched, startled. When he saw who it was, his eyes widened in disbelief. Mr. Hart? You shouldn't be here. Neither should you, Daniel said firmly, kneeling beside him. Why are you sleeping here? What happened? Sam looked away, rain dripping from his hair. His lips trembled. They found me, he muttered. Who? The foster people. His voice cracked. I ran away from the home they put me in last year. They found out where I was staying and said they'd drag me back. Daniel's brow furrowed. Why would you run away? Weren't they taking care of you? Sam laughed bitterly, a sound far too old for a boy his age. Taking care of me? They treated me like a chore, like I was some burden they were paid to feed. The man there used to shout when I didn't finish chores fast enough. His wife would lock me outside when I messed up. Daniel's heart twisted. How long did you live like that? A year, Sam said quietly. Then one night I couldn't take it anymore. I packed my bag and left. Been on the streets ever since. I didn't want to go back. Not after I finally found something good. He glanced up, tears shining in his tired eyes. I was scared, sir. I didn't want Lily to see me like this. I didn't want her to know I was just nobody. Daniel reached out, gripping his shoulder firmly. You are not nobody, Sam. You're the reason my daughter smiles again. Sam looked away, voice shaking. You don't understand. I didn't think I deserved to be here. Not in your house, not with people like you. Daniel's voice softened. You deserve every bit of kindness this world can offer. And you're coming home with me tonight. Home. Sam repeated, his voice breaking. Yes, Daniel said, standing and holding out his hand. You've been out in the cold long enough. For a moment, Sam hesitated. Then he took Daniel's hand. The warmth of it felt unreal. When they reached the mansion, Lily was waiting, eyes wide with relief. Sam, she cried. He smiled weakly, tears mixing with the rain. Told you I'd come back. And as Daniel wrapped a blanket around the boy's shoulders, he realized that sometimes, the ones who seem to have the least to give end up giving the most. The following morning, the Hart mansion awoke to something new. The sound of laughter mixed with clumsy footsteps echoing down the hall. Sam, freshly showered and wearing one of Daniel's old shirts, followed Nurse Julia toward the kitchen, looking a little out of place among the marble floors and chandeliers. His hair was still damp, but for the first time in months he wasn't cold. You don't have to thank me, Julia said, handing him a plate piled high with pancakes. But I'll accept it anyway. Sam grinned shyly. Thank you. I don't remember the last time I had real food that didn't come from a plastic box. Daniel entered just then, dressed for work but carrying a softer expression than usual. Good morning, Sam. How did you sleep? On an actual bed? Sam chuckled. It was weird, too soft. I kept thinking I'd fall off. Daniel laughed, a sound so rare it made Julia smile too. You'll get used to comfort, he said kindly. Later that morning, Sam wheeled Lily out to the garden. The air smelled of roses and wet grass after last night's rain. The sunlight danced across her face, and for the first time in years, she looked content, almost peaceful. You really live here now? Lily asked, squinting up at him. Yeah, Sam said. Your dad says it's just for a while, till I figure things out, but still, feels unreal. She smiled. I'm glad you're here. Sam crouched beside her. Then I guess I'm right where I belong. He pulled out his tiny speaker, turned on a soft beat, and said, Ready for your next lesson? Lily laughed. I thought I was supposed to rest. Rest later. Dance now, he teased. Doctor's orders, Dr. Sam. She rolled her eyes, but she lifted her arms as the music began. Her movements were small, fingers tracing the air, shoulders swaying, but they carried joy. Sam matched her energy, exaggerating his motions to make her giggle. Daniel watched from the terrace, his throat tightening. The sight of his daughter laughing again, glowing in the sunlight, filled him with something he hadn't felt in years, faith. That week, Lily's physical therapist was astonished at her progress. She was more alert, more eager to try. She's regaining muscle control faster than expected, the therapist told Daniel. Whatever you're doing, keep it up. Daniel smiled faintly. It's not me, he said. It's him. Every evening, Sam danced in the living room while Lily clapped along to the rhythm. Daniel often joined in from the sidelines, laughing at himself when he missed a beat. The house that once echoed with grief now pulsed with music and laughter. Even the walls seemed to hum with life again. That night, as Daniel passed Lily's door, he heard her whisper to Sam, Do you think I'll ever walk again? There was a pause, then Sam's quiet reply, I don't know, Lily, but I believe you'll dance again. Maybe not the same way as before, but better, stronger. Daniel stood there silently, a tear slipping down his cheek. For the first time, he truly believed it too. The mansion buzzed with quiet excitement. Tonight was the Dance for Hope charity gala, an idea born from Daniel's heart and Sam's courage. The event aimed to raise money for children with disabilities, and to show the world that healing could take many forms. For Lily, it was more than a fundraiser. It was her night, her story, and for Sam, it was the biggest stage of his life. Inside the grand ballroom, soft golden lights shimmered against the glass chandeliers. Rows of elegant guests filled the seats, all curious to see the mysterious young dancer Daniel Hart had discovered. Lily sat near the front in her wheelchair, dressed in a silver gown that sparkled like moonlight. Her hair was pulled back neatly, and though her legs still refused to move, her eyes shone with pride. Sam peeked from backstage, his stomach fluttering with nerves. Daniel approached him quietly. "You ready?" Sam smiled weakly. "As ready as a street kid can be in a room full of diamonds." Daniel chuckled softly, then placed a hand on his shoulder. "You belong here, Sam. More than any of them." Sam nodded. His gaze drifted to Lily. She caught his eye and gave him a small thumbs up. He took a deep breath. The lights dimmed. A single spotlight cut through the darkness. Music began. Slow, haunting, and beautiful. Sam stepped forward. Every movement told a story. The pain of losing his mother. The loneliness of the streets. The joy of finding a family again. He danced not just with his body, but with his soul. The audience fell silent, drawn into his world. As the rhythm grew stronger, he spun faster, leapt higher, his every motion filled with emotion so raw that even Daniel found himself trembling. Then, as the final note echoed through the hall, Sam knelt before Lily. He extended his hand toward her as if asking her to join him. Lily's breath caught in her throat. Something inside her shifted, a spark, small but alive. She reached out and placed her hand in his. And then, in a miracle no one expected, her foot moved. Just a twitch, barely there but real. Gasps filled the room. Lily's eyes widened. Tears spilled down her cheeks. "Dad, I felt it. I moved." Daniel froze, then rushed to her side, his heart bursting. He knelt, gripping her hand. "Yes, sweetheart, you did. You really did." The audience rose in thunderous applause, some crying openly. Sam, still kneeling, looked up at her with trembling lips. "Told you you'd dance again." She laughed through her tears. "We both did. That night, under the golden lights, it wasn't the wealthy guests or the fancy gala that shone the brightest. It was a broken boy who danced for hope, a little girl who found her courage, and a father who finally believed in miracles." A week had passed since the night that changed everything. The newspapers called it the miracle at the Hart Gala. But for Daniel, Lily, and Sam, it was simply the night their lives began again. The doctors couldn't fully explain how Lily had moved her foot. They spoke of nerves, progress, and therapy, but Daniel believed it was something greater. It was the power of love, courage, and one boy's faith in something bigger than himself. Each morning now carried music. Lily's laughter could be heard down the halls as she worked tirelessly in therapy, her determination burning brighter than ever. She was learning to stand with support, just a few seconds at a time, and each small victory felt like the world shifting beneath their feet. Sam was always beside her, cheering her on. 2 seconds longer today," he'd say proudly. "At this rate, you'll be running circles around me." Lily laughed. "Don't tempt me." Her spirit had returned, fierce, joyful, unbreakable. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, the three of them stood in the garden. The air was warm, carrying the scent of roses and the soft buzz of crickets. Lily sat in her wheelchair, sketching while Sam practiced new dance steps nearby. Daniel watched them both, his heart full. "You know," Daniel said quietly, "when I first saw you dancing on that street, Sam, I thought you were just another lost boy." Sam smiled. "Guess I was, until someone stopped to see me." "You gave us back something I thought we'd lost forever," Daniel said. "Hope, laughter, family." Sam looked down, his eyes glistening. "You gave me a home, Mr. Hart. Nobody's ever done that before." Daniel placed a hand on his shoulder. "Then promise me one thing, never stop dancing, no matter where life takes you." Sam nodded. "I promise." Lily closed her sketchbook and turned to them. "Hey, Sam," she said playfully. "Think you can keep up?" Before he could answer, she gripped the sides of her wheelchair, slowly stood wobbling, but standing, and took one small, perfect step. Sam froze, his eyes wide. "Lily!" Daniel's heart leapt. Tears filled his eyes. "You did it, sweetheart. You did it." Lily laughed, arms trembling as Sam gently steadied her. "Told you I'd dance again," she whispered. And in that golden light, surrounded by love and laughter, Daniel realized that true wealth had nothing to do with money. It lived here in the courage of a little girl, the heart of a street boy, and the quiet miracle of finding home at last. We've come to the end of the story. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more interesting stories.